Friday Football Fever, sponsored by Heartland Credit Union.
Well, it's week 7, and we've got a few schools 6-0 right now. Great Bend, Maize, Andale, Salina Central, Kapaun, all looking to run the table. When any of them fall, we've got the answers for you on today's Friday Football Fever. Welcome to week 7. I'm your host, Michael Imami. We start with one of the greatest rivalries in the Sunflower State, and that's the battle for the Hadget. Garden City hosting Dodge tonight, looking to avenge last year's loss. Let's take you to it. Quarterback Ty Sheck taking the snap on the draw, and he is in for the score. They end up getting the lead 14-7. Trying to open things up is Garden City, looking deep, firing end zone for the touchdown. That's 2 feet, well in bounds. Ball does not come out, and number 4 has got it. But Dodge City putting the finishing touches on this one with a TD late. Still tied up at 14. We told you it'd be low scoring, and it was 34 points total between these two. Dodge takes it and the Hatchet, 20-14, the final. Now to Maize at Valley Center. Connor Thatcher is going to go deep to Spencer Crumrine, and guess what? He drops it in the bucket for 6 points. Nice throw and great catch. Now here comes Brandon Maiovala. He ends up finding Pierce George on this 3rd and long as he weaves his way past a couple of defensive backs and finally is down 2 yards short. They end up getting the first down on a quick run, and now Maiovala takes off. This is going to be for 6. He shrugged off the first tackle, foot race to the end zone with a stiff arm. Maize with the win, 68-31 the final. He was doing that a lot last week, does it more this week. What a terrific run from him. All right, you know what time it is. Game of the week, and we're headed to Trinity. Powerhouse Andale remains undefeated heading into week 7, and the Knights, who currently sit at 500 under new head coach Ryan Shadler, face their toughest challenge yet. Would home field advantage play a role? Let's find out. Trinity starts with it, and they strike first. This quarterback, Zach Zimmerman, finding his receiver for a touchdown as he rolls in. That's not something most teams have been able to do against Andale, is get a lead. But the Indians come right back. Jack Horsch spinning off a tackle, taking this one in 50+ yards to the crib. Look at him run. That is one big young man as he goes right in. Sam Harp, now he's played a lot of quarterback. This time he's running it in for the touchdown. Andale likes to go with that triple option, and it works to a success. They're up big. Here's Harp again. You just saw him run. Now he's finding a receiver on the run for a touchdown. Andale just running away with this one. Trinity with it now on offense. You see Andale and the Indians working well on offense. We want to give the defense credit. That's Hank Molitor with the interception, taking it right out of the receiver's hands, breaking free and in for the score. Pick 6. Andale on top in this one, 68-20. Here's head coach Dylan Schmidt.
Well, I mean, I wasn't happy with how we played in the first half. Offensively, at times we were good, but turning the ball over twice and all the penalties we have, I was a little disappointed there. And, you know, and then we put our defense in kind of a tough position, being short field. So there were some goods and bads on both sides. But in the end, we rallied and got off to a good start there in the 3rd, and were able to get the clock running and finished well there. So I was happy with how we finished.
Welcome back. After a Week 6 loss to crosstown rival Kapaun, Bishop Carroll was put to the test again with a strong City League defense against East. Let's take you out there. Carroll's John Corrigan going to pass this one into some traffic, and the ball is going to be taken away from the defensive back. Almost an interception, but Nathan Gertz gets it for a 10-yard gain. Corrigan now handing it off to running back Britton St. Vrain, and he's going to get the touchdown, colliding with a defender for the score. And with 4th down at the 28-yard line, David Esio Acuna kicking the field goal. 24-0, Bishop Carroll wins this one as they blank East. All right, now to Maize South. Quarterback Rain Ilian pressured, and he is picked on the run with a defensive back in his face. That's Shears Montgomery with the INT. Now Derby's going to be on the move in the ensuing possession. They've got a 2-touchdown lead, looking to make it 3. That's Blade Clark scoring to extend it. Now Ilian, he's going to go deep, trying to cut into this lead that Derby's got. He ends up finding his man Carson Cantu as he's racing down the sideline. That's making the sticks dance. And the Mavericks do have a good drive going, but Derby puts an end to that shortly thereafter with a sack. Great ankle tackle right here, spinning him down for the loss. 70-28, the Panthers on top. All right, now to Douglas at Garden Plain. Douglas making the trip, and not much going well as Kane Ast rolls left and throws deep, but it's picked by Hunter Campling. Emmerich Hayes now getting the handoff for the Owls, and he nearly breaks free for the score, but is deep in Bulldogs territory as he's tackled just short right there. GP would cap the drive off as Trevor Catlin gets the end around and races to the pylon for 6 points. Garden Plain dominating in impressive fashion to capture another win. Final score 49-0. Cheney taking on Collegiate. Cardinals with the running back pass here from Colton Young. Back to the quarterback, Reese Tolar. A little trickeration. Wide open. Corrals it and fights off the defender to take it in for 6. Look at that. That's a play of the week candidate right there. Playing receiver, which he did last year. Jacoby Salyers drops back and fires it down the right side for Ethan Easter, who catches it in stride and takes it in to tie the game up at 14. But Cheney ends up pulling away with the 48-27 victory. All right, Kapaun High School remains undefeated as they make the trip up north to take on St. James. Will the streak continue tonight? Let's find out. Quarterback Cole Rapp on the rollout. Finds his receiver on the run for the touchdown, ends up tying this game up at 14, and it remains tied late in the ball game at 38. Kicker going for the game-winning field goal with 4 seconds remaining, and it's blocked. St. James ends up getting the win. Tough break for him. 38-35, your final score there. Northwest now entering south, starting off with Lexington Hudson, number 21. He scores the first touchdown of the night. Now South is going to end up throwing the ball, but this one is picked off by Northwest. That's Cordell Johnson. Augie Fast working clean up here on the ensuing drive, gets the handoff and races his way in. We've said it multiple times on this show. He lives up to his last name. Look at him weave, high step. Defender almost caught him, but snuck his way inside of the pylon for the TD. Now Jalen Mason running the ball for a 3rd down, which leads Northwest Ryder Campbell with a touchdown right before halftime. And there's your final score right there. Northwest all over South, 52-0. Your final there. Now to Salina Central. Will Quinn, you've seen him run. Well, guess what? He's throwing. The Trojans opening things up with Gatelyn Tilson. And the 6'3" senior has got Andover at the 1-yard line. So they call Quinn's number once more, and he delivers once more. A reminder again, Salina Central was undefeated coming into yesterday. They're being shut out right now. They do pick it up in the 3rd. Swing pass complete to Brandon Owens. Breaking a tackle near side, dashing his way in for 6. Andover, though, spoiling the undefeated season, 48-21, the final there from yesterday. Picture-perfect night for some football as Wellington welcoming in Rose Hill. First drive of the ball game for the Rockets as Xander Ford ends up connecting with Remington Merlot for the nice catch. A couple of plays later, Kai Kirchhoff-Jones hands the ball off, and he's going to make it across the pylon. Rose Hill, they're up 7-0 as we take you now to the next Wellington possession. Karsten Bannister gets the handoff. He's going to take this one in untouched. Look at him work his way around. Nobody in sight going all the way in for the score. Maybe a little touch on the back right there, but Rose Hill takes this one 55-14, your final score there in Wellington. Now Pratt on the road tonight, taking on Clearwater as we pick up the action in the 3rd. Pratt's Arlie Morrell with a nice gain for the Greenbacks. We take you now a couple of plays later. It's Creston Poor. He's going to connect with Caleb Strong. And Strong is going to juke out a couple of defenders right here for the score all the way to the end zone, getting 2 guys off of him, going east for the touchdown. Pratt leads 28-0. Clearwater with the ball now, and Pratt's defense will come up big by poking the ball out. Lane Blevins' hands, and Poor will run it back for the score. Pratt's up 35-0. They end up taking this one 42-13. The final score there. All right, now to Hayes and Great Bend. A lot of people had a lot riding on this one. Holden Lind takes it in for the score for Hayes right there as they close this game up a little bit. But Connor Halliday of Great Bend ends up scoring as he shrugs off 1 tackle, beating 2 defenders, turning the corner and in. Holden Lind once again would continue to put up big numbers today. breaking off 3 tackles, a little bit near the 50-yard line, and then breaking away for the touchdown. But great bend ends up taking this ball game. It was close in the beginning. Ian Premer capped it off with a game-winning pick 6, or end-of-game pick 6. 43-19 is your final score. Now Augusta McPherson. Owen Roberts, the running back. This kid was gone the second he touched the ball. Check out that speed as he's flying up far side. He ends up getting the score. And wow, unbelievable run from him. Look at your final score here. Augusta ends up taking it 50-29. They put up a lot of points tonight. All right, now we are off to Heights. Zane Masterson, or at North rather. Masterson hands off to Chalen Bodney, booking it downfield for the TD. Now the ball is going to go to Darius Rogers. He's going to put this one in the end zone for the score. Quarterback Zane Masterson, he runs it in for another touchdown for the Falcons, and Heights was just putting on a clinic in this one. Unfortunately, though, we do not have a final score from this game. We'll take you now to a couple more games around Central and Western Kansas. Manhattan, their great season continues. They take it 50-0 over Topeka, and then Ulysses falling to Liberal 38-8. Your final there. A couple more coming your way. Campus falls to Salina South 55-6, and then Hutch taking a really close one over Newton 15-14. 1-point game over there. Congrats to the Salt Hawks on getting another win this week. We'll be back right after the break, but here's a couple more scores for you. All right, the highlights have been shown, scores have been told. Now it's time for my favorite part, the play of the week, and it goes to the Cheney Cardinals. We got multiple young men on the list to win play of the week here. Colton Young, the running back, passing it to Reese Tolar, wide open, corrals it, and he fights off a defender too with a stiff arm. Look at that, a little spin move. 6 points. What a play from the quarterback, showing off his roots as a receiver and defensive back going back a couple years ago. All right, great play to cap things off.